Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Jesse, you there? Maybe not.
Hey, Doug. Sorry, I was
Okay.
wrong speaker. Thank you.
Not a problem. Hey, Tommy.
Yo.
Yo. Let's see.
Hi.
Hey, David. Hey, Remy.
Oh, good morning.
Hey. This could be one of our shorter calls. We only have 2 things on the agenda, and they're fairly quick. Hi, Christoph.
Hi.
And hey, Eric.
Good morning, Doug.
Hello, John.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad.
That's good.
In the middle of a bunch of different cloud event stuff, which at some point I should work out to what extent this is the main part of my job. Like, I got in this through a chain of about 3 different things. Starts taking over a bit. Wow, all these people not joining just because it's a holiday. Tja, what kind of level of commitment is that?
I know, geez, what losers.
Yeah. And next people will be not showing up because they're on their honeymoon or something.
If they don't marry somebody who understands, then they're marrying the wrong person.
Yeah.
It's worth noting that it's only holidays in some parts of Germany. For example, in Berlin, where I'm based, it's not a holiday. So, well, you can count it as extra commitment from me.
So what is the holiday today?
I actually don't know the English Corpus Christi.
Oh,
the English word for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I always think it's interesting when countries choose to have a holiday on a day that's not Monday or Friday, right? Because it's like Thursday, it's almost like they're encouraging people to also take off Friday as well. It just seems like an interesting choice.
It's because it's religious. So
Maybe they don't have a choice. That's true.
Yeah, and if it's a fixed, so July the 4th tends to happen on July the 4th.
Tends to. That is true. Yes.
It's
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
to be fair with the US, it's good because when it happens on a Sunday like this year, they give you the Monday off. While in France, if the 14th of July is on a Sunday, it's for you. Like we don't care. And in the US, at least they're like, okay, we'll give you the 5th. So
Yes.
one good point for the US in terms of holidays, which is pretty rare.
Well, what I love about US holidays is that whenever the US is having Thanksgiving or July the 4th or whatever it is, that ends up feeling like a holiday over here in the UK because I get so few emails. And there won't be any meetings. It's like, okay, well, I can get enough of my job done and just relax. This is great.
Yes. I feel the exact same way, except that for me right now, it's with Germany, because a lot of my team is in Germany. And when they're on vacation, it really does feel like a holiday. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, same here with friends. Then my morning are just easy. You can enjoy your coffee. You don't have like thousands of messages pending.
Exactly. All right. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Morning.
All right. As I said, I think this is going to be really, really quick. But let's just run through the usual thing. No AIs. Okay. Anything from the community if you want to bring up?
Nope.
Okay. We do have the interop call this week. I just checked the agenda and there's no agenda item on there. So unless someone brings something up before we end this call, we're probably going to skip that call. And let me apologize up front. My internet has been doing some really, really weird stuff all day today. It's been really, really slow. So if I cut out or get dropped, that's why. Okay, KubeCon, there's something here. Oh, okay. So I got a note asking for our interest in the Project Pavilion. And in particular, they're interested in knowing whether, if we're going to do something there, whether we're going to want to do something virtual versus in person. Now, my assumption is that by October, while things may be opening back up, I suspect a lot of people still will not be inclined to travel. So I just want to get a sense from the folks on the call here right now, how many people are thinking about possibly going in person to KubeCon as opposed to attending virtually?
Me, I'll probably go.
Well, that's because you're local, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no, so no for Scott. Is there anybody on the call who was planning on going and it requires, airplane travel? Okay, not hearing it. What I'm going to do then, I'm going to respond and say, okay, if we're going to do anything, it will be virtual because I think that'd be the safest thing. Okay, thank you all. Let's see, Timber's not on the call. So let's go ahead and jump into his PRs. And as I said, I think they're relatively easy and we could probably approve them. So he made some changes to the OpenAI API spec here for multiple filter dialects. Now, I'm not an OpenAPI expert. And my only question when I was reviewing this, so I'm going to have to lean on somebody like Scott or whoever who knows more about this stuff. He made this into an array so that you can have a list of them. And I'm assuming that because the array implies an and semantics around it, that there's nothing you can put inside the OpenAPI spec that enforces the and. That's something that you just have to do through code and documentation to tell people that there's an implied and. Is that correct?
I don't know anything about OpenAPI either, but that sounds like it should be correct. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have any?
That seems correct to me. Yeah,
Okay.
those are the semantics of the API, not the format of it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is just saying that the elements inside the array can be one of these things.
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. So he went from a one of, which obviously is a syntactical thing you can check to make sure there's exactly one, to just an array of them. So I think everything else he had in here was just removing spaces. So really that's his only change. One of to an array.
Cool. Looks good to me.
Yep. Anybody else want to chime in? Okay.
No, looks
Any,
good to me.
Was there an ability to just simply have the filter be, here's my string?
here's my
Because-
string.
Yeah, because the way this
Yeah,
is
that's
written
the exact
removes
match,
that.
I think.
Wait, say it again, Scott.
Here's my string should be, oh, you mean like a semantic string with components that you have to parse?
No, I'm so sorry. This is saying that filters has to be an array now, rather than it could be, here's my filter, or if I want to provide an array of filters, here's an array of filters. I'm not at all remembering what we agreed on, so I'm not sure if this is appropriate. Just calling that out in case.
Yeah,
Hold on,
it would be quite nice if it could specify either filter is specified or filters is specified, but not both. So that in the simple case, you don't have to build an array just for the sake of one thing, because I suspect that's the most likely case, a single filter. But
Yeah, but I think
I
for
don't know enough
clarity,
open
it's
APIs.
easier to have just one array, because if you have both and then you say like you can have either one or the other, it's kind of a bit disturbing. I still prefer to create a one item array on my side. I think it's
Right.
clearer.
I'm a little worried about mixing the dialects in the filters. The original assumption was that each filter kind of chose a dialect for defining what the filter should be, and then you kind of stick with that. And if you only need the basic filters like exact match or prefix, then you can just use the prefix filter and you're off to the races. But if you need some more advanced kind of filtering techniques, then you would pick, I think the assumption was that every filtering dialect kind of took on the features of the less advanced versions below it. So you could still do exact match in the SQL filters dialect, but defining both the basic version as the basic dialect and a SQL dialect seems a little funky to me.
So, okay, in fairness to Slinky, it sounds like the topics you guys are bringing up are interesting topics, but it feels a little bit out of scope for this PR, because all he's trying to do in this PR is say, look, we agreed to this one last week, so let's at least make the open API spec match what the spec says. And so if you guys want to go back and revisit whether we should have filter and a filters, whether we should say, nope, all filters have to be sort of incremental and additive in nature, I think those are interesting topics to bring up, but I don't think that should necessarily hold up Slinky's PR. I think those should be new issues and new PRs brought before the group. Does that make any sense?
I do agree.
Yeah, that makes sense. This looks correct for an open API change.
Right. Okay. And yeah, because I don't want to kill this PR for different topics. But having said that, obviously, Scott, Eric, if you guys want to bring up the other issues you brought up, and I do think they're valid topics for discussion, then open up an issue or open up a PR, and we'll get that on the table. Because everything's still up for grabs right now, right? Nothing's set in stone. Okay, so back to this one. Any objection then to approving this? Okay, cool. Hold on. Good golly, I can't type. Okay, next one I think is just as simple. Okay, this one I believe all he did is add, let's get past the spaces. Yeah, all he did is add, excuse me, the SQL filter dialect to the list of possible dialects. So again, I think this is just catching the open API spec up with what the specifications themselves define.
So just to check, has that merged nicely with the previous PR that we have just approved?
That is an
Given that
interesting
this is in
question.
the same area, isn't it?
Well,
Or is
if he gets a merge conflict, he has to resolve it.
Okay.
That's what we're
I seem to remember it's going to require another couple of spaces. And it would almost be worse if it didn't get a merge conflict, but the new SQL filter ended up not being indented the same amount as all the other filters. But there we go.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is not beyond his wit to sort it out.
Exactly, yes. Now, when I was reviewing this one, Okay, yeah, do me a favor. And let me hide the comments here for a sec so you can read this. Read this paragraph and see if anything jumps out at you as just kind of odd about the way it's worded.
It sort of seems fail safe to false, unless it's a completely weird, if it's coerced to Boolean and is false, then fine, false. How can it be coerced to Boolean, but anything other than the true Boolean value? It's not clear what happens if the result is text of banana, for example. Is that an error and therefore it results in false? Or is that something that is not coerced to Boolean validly as false, therefore becomes true? Which seems to be an odd mixture of failing to false and failing to true.
Yeah, I think you may be indirectly talking about the same thing that jumped out at me, which is sentences like, or semantics like this. How do I say this right? So to me, I would rather say, if X happens, that means true. Everything else defaults to false.
Yeah.
And that's what jumped out at me, is it seems like it's backwards. You may end up at the exact same spot, but reading it, it just feels awkward to me. And so let me show the comments, because and he wrote back this when I mentioned that.
Yeah. I would have thought something that says, if the result is a value which can be coerced to a Boolean value, which is then true, then the result is true. Otherwise, including if an error occurs, the result must be false.
Exactly. That
So
would
I think it's fine to call out error means false. That's fine. But yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Okay. Because I'd like to do is ask him to rewrite it along those lines, but I want to make sure I wasn't the only one who was just that was reading it kind of awkwardly.
It's interesting that there's, looking at the sentence below, it's got to reject subscriptions with invalid SQL expressions, but if an error occurs while evaluating the expression, I guess, so is that if it's syntactically invalid SQL, we ought to, it's worth flagging that up early. If you put like with a Y instead of the I, for example, reject that immediately. That doesn't count as an evaluation error.
That was my interpretation as well. This was, you should do fail fast if you can, but he couldn't make it a must because you can't guarantee everybody has the ability to do that.
Right.
That was my assumption.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Okay. So aside from asking him to reverse the wording of this, any other questions or comments about this? It seemed fairly straightforward to me.
I don't know enough OpenAPI to really review the bit that's on the screen at the moment.
Okay. And so that's fine. Any objection then to approving with the proposed change? Proposed.
It seems fine.
Okay, no objection. Cool. John, I checked last night. You didn't make any changes to.
I haven't made any changes or had any particular further thoughts other than the comments I left on your reorganizing the directory structure and how that might interact with versioning.
Yep, which is why I'm waiting on you.
Yes.
Yes. Which is fine. No big hurry. Okay. In that case, I don't think there's anything else down here in the agenda that we can talk about.
No, I mean, if you could respond to my comments from today on that PR of yours, I think we can do that offline just with GitHub comments.
Yes. Okay.
Just as easily. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for the reminder. Yes, I'll try to do that today. Okay. Any other topics then for discussion? Otherwise, we will end really early.
Just to mention, I now have PRs for the C# SDK removing webhook support and removing distributed tracing on the grounds that both of those seem somewhat up in the air. And we want to get to a 2.0, and I would rather not do a 2.0 and suddenly need a 3.0. So I guess there with Clemens, both of those. If we could push for a little bit more clarity on those when Clemens is back, that'd be great.
Okay, and just for my own education, why is webhook up in the air?
Because the header might be changed. There's the issue down at the bottom of the ready issues or the waiting for updates issues. There's
that one.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, forgot about that. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure how we can resolve that without this being a significant breaking change. And this may force our hand on we need to work out versioning. Does it really need every Cloud Events SDK to move to 2.0? Who knows? But
yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. In that case, Lance, you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I was late.
All right. Yep, not a problem. And Matt?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Okay, last chance. Any topics for this call or the Discovery Interop call? Otherwise, we'll get back about an hour and 40 minutes of your day.
All good.
All right, cool.
Cool. Have a nice
All
weekend.
done. Yep. Have a good
Okay,
weekend,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Bye.